We wanted to welcome you all to session 3. I know a few of you are brand new this session, and that's fine. We'll just have you jump right in. It's okay to try and just see how you're doing with your MI skills. You will have, if you have attended the other 3 sessions, you'll have a little more background knowledge, but we're all here to learn, and it's a fun space to do so, and so don't be afraid to jump in and give everything a try. So we're joined today by Bonita Bird, and she is our MI expert here, and she is going to lead us through the content today, and we'll have a few group exercises. We have elected, again, because I know we have people joining from various ways, we are not going to do the breakout rooms. We're going to put you into groups in the large group settings, so we'll go over how that's going to look like as we go through. All right, with that, I will hand it over to Bonita to get us started.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Motivational Interviewing Session 3. And I'm going to do a little bit of a review. We'll go through the previous sessions really quick. We talked about the spirit of MI, and that involves the collaboration, working with your clients. Evocation, that's getting them to tell you their reasons for changing. Having compassion with them, and overall acceptance of the clients. There are principles that we follow, and the first one is resist the writing reflex. Sometimes when people say things about why they don't want to change, we tend to try to push them or pull them and to get them on the right path, and that's the major thing that MI says do not do. We are supposed to roll with the resistance. We don't want to push back on it. Understanding what the client is saying and where they're coming from by developing discrepancies. Making sure we listen with empathy and express that to them. And we want to empower our clients, so they feel like they're in charge, and it's really totally up to them whether they make a change or not. Sometimes when we're collecting data, we really want them to show change because that's what we're getting paid to do. But we need to avoid that and leave it totally up to the client. The skills that we've talked about so far are engaging and focusing. That's just joining with the client and building a relationship, and then deciding on a common focus. Providing information with elicit, provide elicit. That's asking them about what they know, then giving them the information with their permission, and then asking for their reaction to the permission or to the information. Then the core skills that we use with MI are the open-ended questions, the affirmations, reflections, and summaries. And the acronym for that is ORS. Then in the second session, we talked about ambivalence, and that's developing discrepancy. And we'll go over that just a little bit more today, briefly. Recognizing change talk and sustain talk. And that's where we spend a lot of time. And the homework was to write 3 statements, or 4 statements of change talk for something that you are thinking about changing. So we'll work with those in our activity today. So those of you that haven't done that while we're talking, you might think about writing up statements of change talk. Then today we're going to be evoking and strengthening change talk. So we'll review a little bit more of that change talk and learn how to work with it once we recognize it. And then how to respond to that change talk with EARS, which is elaboration, affirmation, reflection, and summaries. And then we'll end with planning. How do you seal the deal? And develop a plan with the client and get a commitment to change. Any questions at this point about what we've done before? There's a way to chat it in, or you can just unmute and tell me if you have a question or need clarification on anything that we've covered so far. Okay, I will just keep moving. And if you want to chat, Erin can let me know if there's a chat that comes through. Recognizing change talk. And this is what we spent quite a bit of time last time doing, getting our ears tuned to hear change talk. And we broke it down into different kinds of change talk. And that is just so we can get our ears tuned when you're hearing it. In the sessions with your client, it's not real important to identify which kind it is, other than sometimes that helps you with your reflections or answering it. So the D is desire. I wish, I want, or I'd like. Ability, I can, or I think I can, I could. A reason, I'd be healthier if, or something, the reason I want to do it. Sometimes they even use that word. That helps. Need is I have to, I've got to, I have no choice, those kind of things. Commitment. The cat is more on the movement kind of side, where they have intentions, they've made decisions, they're ready, prepared, and willing, they've taken some steps. And if you think of it as kind of a hill, the darn is going uphill, and the cat is when they start going downhill with their movement toward change. And today what we want to do, and what we'll be doing in our activity, is figuring out what kind of things we need to do to get them to tell us or make statements of change talk. And the simplest way to do that is simply to ask some open-ended questions. And some questions you might ask to get the desire is, how do you want life to be different a year from now? To get ability, what do you think you might be able to do to change? Or what do you think you might be able to change? Reason, what would be some good things about doing something differently? A need, tell me how urgent or serious you are for this. So simply asking questions is helpful. You can use the importance and confidence rulers, and we'll be spending some time on those today, so I'm not going to talk about those right now. Querying extremes, and when we did the decisional balance last week, that's really what you're doing, the positive things and the not so positive things about staying the same, and the positive things and not so positive things about making a change. So when you're doing that, you're really querying the extremes, the really positive things, the not so positive things. If you're asking questions around that, you would be asking them to explain to you what would be the worst thing that would happen if you don't make a change, or what would be the best things that would happen if you do make this change, those kind of things. Looking back and looking forward is simply, can you think of a time when things weren't like this? Or looking forward after you've made the change, how will things be different? And then exploring goals and values. And that's really listening to your clients around their goals and values, and how close their current behavior or their changed behavior would be aligned with those goals and values. So today we're going to look at the first two, the asking of questions more and using the importance ruler, simply because the others are a little bit more in-depth counseling than most navigators would be doing. The querying extremes, the decisional balance, or the simply listing the pros and cons of what you're doing. Could be useful to you when you're working with a client. Okay, when we respond to change talk, we want to respond with ears, and that's to help you remember that you're supposed to be listening for the change talk. And the E stands for elaborating. Ask for explanations, more details, in what ways or specific examples that they might change. And those are really, the elaborating is really with open-ended questions. Affirming, commenting positively on the person's statement, which is letting them know that you hear what they're saying, with an affirmation, a positive comment. Reflection, continuing the paragraph or continuing on their thought. And that's pulling that out of they may have a lot of sustained talk in there, but they have one little element of change talk, and that's what you want to focus on and reflect that one element of change talk. And then when you're summarizing, you want to be collecting a bouquet of change talk. So if you have talked to someone for 10 minutes and they have little snippets of change talk through there, when you're summarizing, you want to collect those reasons and desires, all those statements that they've made, and put them together. And usually we do that when we're about to make the plan, when we feel that they're ready to have take the next step. Maybe not make the whole change, but maybe to take the next step. So let's pause. The next slide is for us to practice some of the things that we've been talking about. So do we have our groups? We'll need groups of 3.
Yep, so I was just going to call out the names of people as we go along. We could start with a few volunteers if you want to get it out of the way. Otherwise, we will call on you as we go through.
Okay.
So do you want to kind of really walk the first group through it.
Right. And
Yeah.
this is where we're going to use your sample change talk statements that you did for homework. So one person out of the three will be using their statement. So if you want to be the one that uses your statement, you need to volunteer first.
Ooh, Wendy volunteers. Okay, so let's do a group of Wendy, Lisa, and Elena, because I know you guys were all here last time, if I remember correctly. So that's the first group.
And so Wendy will be making a change talk statement.
Okay.
And then person two, think about what you might have said that would evoke the response she just gave you.
So that'll be Lisa will be person two.
And then person one will repeat the change talk statement. And person three will respond with either elaboration, affirmation, or reflection.
And so that's Elena.
Okay, any questions? And everybody will get a turn to do this. And it's okay if we get it right or we don't get it right. We're learning. Okay, is everybody ready? I need to hear the three voices. Ready?
Here, I'm going to unmute you, Wendy, so you get to share your change talk statement.
Oh, great. You can hear me.
Yes.
Good. I was starting to type it. Okay, great. You ready?
We're ready.
Okay. So here it is. I am starting to feel like I don't want even one drink at every social gathering this holiday season. That is my intention this holiday season. And I didn't say that as clearly as I wanted to, so I don't know. I'll just let you guys draw it out. I realize it's ambiguous.
So
Lisa is person two. Do I do the ability?
you say what question might you have asked her before she gave you that answer?
Oh, can you repeat your question again? I'm sorry. Person one.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. I am starting to feel like I don't want even one drink at every social gathering this holiday season.
So what might you have asked her before she told you that?
What is the reason for the changes?
Well, I only drink one drink usually.
Okay.
Should I respond?
Wendy? No.
Yeah. No.
You don't have to.
Can you maybe you can give an example or because you told me last time they're working backwards, right? So.
Right. So her response, Wendy, after she says her question, then you say your response again, just like you said it to begin with. So do we want to start over? Wendy, say your statement.
I am starting to feel like I don't want even one drink at every social gathering this holiday season.
Okay, Lisa, you say what you would have asked to give that statement. And Wendy, after she says that, you respond with your statement. See if that would be natural.
What is the reason for the changes?
And then repeat your statement, Wendy.
Repeat it. I'm starting to feel like I don't want even one drink at every social gathering this holiday season.
Okay, and person three, and I forgot who's person three?
Elena.
Elena.
Can you tell me a little bit more of what makes you not want to have more than one drink?
Well,
Elaborating here.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So that's group one. Thank you. And you can call each other later and continue to work it through if you want to.
Can I make one quick comment? Because I realize this is Wendy. My statement wasn't entirely clear. So it's not even that I have a concern about drinking too much, because I don't drink that much. I usually have one drink. It's that I want to not have anything sometimes. So I just want everyone to know that I didn't make a very clear statement. And if you were drawing it out from me, yeah.
They would eventually got to that.
All right, great. I just wanted everybody to know. That's what I meant.
No judgment.
Thanks. All right.
Okay. Group 2?
Okay, for group 2, I believe Michelle volunteered to share her change talk statement.
Okay.
And then we will have with Michelle, we'll have Azza and Jennifer. So I'm going to unmute you guys. So we'll have Jennifer as person 2 and Azza as person 3. And Michelle, are you able to yeah, you got it. Awesome.
Okay. Okay, ready, Michelle? Your statement.
Yeah, I used an example from one of my clients, and my client said, I can't seem to take my HIV meds on time, and I don't want my T-cell count to drop, and I want to become undetected.
Okay, for Jennifer, what might have you asked to get that response?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the statement again?
Yes. I can't seem to take my HIV meds on time, and I don't want my T-cell count to drop to too low, and I also want to become undetected and don't know how.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what issues are you having? Taking your. So would it be something like, what issues are you having taking your medication?
Sure. And how would you respond to that, Rosa?
I understand you're having trouble taking your medication.
It's not that I'm not taking it. It's, you have to take it at the same time every day. So I said taking my meds on time.
Okay, I goofed up. I didn't have Rosa repeat her change talk statement. Can you just repeat what you said first, Rosa? Or Jennifer?
Okay,
Jennifer.
I understand you're having. Oh, Jennifer, go ahead.
Jennifer.
Repeat.
So I understand you're having trouble taking your medication on time, and that your T-cell count is very important to you.
Oh no, that would be a reflection.
Okay, we got mixed up here. It's hard when I think it's harder on here, but anyway. So Michelle, you have the change talk statement. So you make the change talk statement, then Jennifer will do the question that she had before your change talk statement. Then Michelle, you repeat the change talk statement, and then Apple reflects on it or responds to it. Shall we try it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Michelle.
Okay. Michelle, I'm worried because I can't seem to take my HIV meds on time, and I don't want my T-cell count to drop anymore, and I want to learn what I need to do to become undetected.
Okay, Jennifer.
So the question would be, what issues are you having taking your HIV medications?
Okay, now Michelle, repeat that.
I'm taking my meds. I just can't take them on time, and you need to take them at the same time every day so they'll be, 100% effective.
Okay, so I understand that you're having difficulty taking your medication on time, and you're concerned about your levels dropping.
And
Okay, you did a double-sided reflection. That's good. That's
so
good.
can I ask her a question like, what do you think would help you in, what's the word? Organizing your time or prioritizing your time?
You could, but that would probably be a little premature
Oh, okay.
because you're going right for the plan. And
I wrote down, I'm sorry, I wrote down, would you like to discuss some ways to ensure that you take your meds on time?
yes, what you want to do is draw out their motivation to change is they don't want their T cells to go down. You can ask them to tell me more about what it's going to take to not let your T cells go down anymore. So you go with, that's their motivation. So you want them to talk more about that. What's it going to take?
Okay.
Okay. So the change talk in there is the motivation to take their medication, and that's, they don't want their T cells to go down. So you want them to elaborate more on that. Okay?
All right.
Group 3. How many groups are we going to have?
They're being formed as we go along.
Okay.
On the fly, shall we say? All right. And I'm just marking off people as we go. All right. I believe we had Aurora. Were you going to share your change talk statement? Okay. And then I'll have Hillary as person 2, and then I'll have I think Carolina left. We'll have Nellie as person 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I think,
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Aurora,
Yes.
you have a change talk statement prepared?
Yes.
Okay.
I think being able to run a 5K would give me a huge sense of accomplishment.
Okay.
So what I heard is that you
Hillary,
would.
Hillary,
Can you hear me?
yes, but I want you to say what you would have said to get her to give you that response. So you're not listening to her response. You're trying to say the question you would have asked her beforehand to get her to say that.
Is there anything that you could do in your life that would make you feel accomplished?
I think being able to run a 5K would give me a huge sense of accomplishment.
Okay, then now
So what I hear is that if you were able to run a 5K, that you would feel accomplished. That would be a sense of accomplishment for you.
Right. Okay. So that's reflecting, a simple reflection of what you said. Okay? Anybody else want to have any comments about that? I think we did it.
Okay.
Do we have another group?
Oh, did we have the third person go?
Yeah, Dele, she reflected back, did a simple reflection back of her sense of accomplishment. Right, Nellie?
Oh,
so
Nellie, now you're unmuted. Okay.
Okay.
So the change talk would be, she thinks she could run, right?
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you.
So the change talk that Aurora mentioned was that she thinks she could run and would feel more accomplished. So she kind of has, she can run and she would feel accomplished. Kind of two reasons, a reason and an ability in that statement. And
Okay.
you reflected them both, so that was good. She gave you a strong change statement. Okay, next group, that was good.
Okay. Hey, Bonita, do you want to turn your camera on and off?
Mine? Oh,
You're frozen.
it's frozen. That's what my grandkids.
All right, for the next group, we'll have Sienna, we'll have you share your change talk statement, and then we will have Gayla as person 2, and then Brianna as person 3.
All right, the change talk statement I came up with was, I want to spend more time reading in my free time instead of watching TV or scrolling through social media.
Okay, so I'm person 2. We're still doing the first set, right?
Yes,
so,
I'm trying to fix my camera, so I'm having trouble listening at the same time. I'm sorry, this is Bonita, and my camera's frozen, and I'm trying to fix that, and it's not working.
Yeah, no, Gayla, we're still looking at the slide. So you're trying to think of a statement that you would have said that would make her, talk about the.
Could she please repeat that again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sure. I want to spend more time reading in my free time instead of watching TV or scrolling through social media.
Okay. Then who's our
number? So tell me about the different options you have that you would like to do in your free time.
Okay. Then restate your statement.
I want to spend more time reading instead of watching TV or scrolling through social media.
Okay. Or I could say, so tell me about how you would like to spend your free time. How would that benefit you?
Okay. I think person number 3, is that Sienna?
Yeah, I think
I was person number 1.
Okay. Okay, I didn't get the assignments here. So who's person number 3?
She left. Sorry, I have people like popping in and out. So let's see. Bonita, would you like to be person 3 for this one?
Okay, let's start out. Sienna, you did the change talk?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Can you repeat that change talk?
Sure. I want to spend more time reading in my free time instead of watching TV or scrolling through social media.
Can you tell me more about what you'd like to read?
Do you want me to respond?
You can in your mind. That
Okay.
would be elaborating because your change talk was really to read more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want you to tell me more. So we're ignoring the things you're going to leave that are going to fall away. Okay, do we have another group?
Yes, I think we should do one more group. How does that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Carolina, thank you. Carolina's going to share her change talk statement, and then we will have, let's see, I don't think we've had Selena go. So Selena, you can be person 2, and then Gloria, you can be person 3.
Okay. So I want to take my prescription medications back to a safe disposal site, but I have a busy schedule and don't know when I would do it.
Elena?
Can
So are you having any issues of taking your medication?
Try that again. What would you ask?
Are you having, well, am I supposed to go again or?
Yeah, Selena, try again. She said she was, her conflict was whether to take the medications in and to safe disposal versus her time schedule. And so what would you have said to get her to tell you about that?
Okay, I couldn't hear the question very good. Her response very good. Can you say it again?
Yeah. So I said I want to take my prescription medications back to a safe disposal site, but I have a busy schedule and I don't know when I would do it.
So what question might you have asked her before she gave you that answer?
Are you having, are you able to take your medications the way you are wanting to? I don't know.
What are you doing with your unused medications, probably, is what you might have asked.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then, Gloria? No. Carolina, can you repeat your change talk again?
Yeah, I can ask a different one. So, like, my doctor is telling me to take unused medications back to a safe disposal site, but I'm just not passionate enough about it to make it happen. So I don't want to go through the effort.
So is that change talk?
No, that's not change talk.
Okay, if you personalize it and quit trying to copy your clients, it's easier. If you do a personal change. Do you have another change talk statement?
Yeah, sure. So I want to clear out my clutter, and I'm trying to figure out how to make time in my schedule to do it.
Okay. So what statement might you have asked, Selena?
Or what is a way that you, a way that you can maybe organize your life better?
Okay, and then repeat your statements, Carolina.
Repeat the statement?
Yeah, repeat it again.
Okay. I want to get rid of my clutter, and I'm trying to make time in my schedule to do it.
Okay. Now, Gloria, respond to that.
So she doesn't have a mic.
Oh. Is she typing?
Do we have any other volunteers? You can respond with a elaboration, affirmation, or reflection. Martha. Hey. Awesome. Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
So what was the change talk?
The change talk was that she wanted to unclutter her, I guess, things in her home.
Okay. So yeah. How are you going to respond?
The response would be, what ways can you make your life less stressful or manage your life better? I think that was the one.
That might be a question you'd ask to get that response. And then she tells you uncluttering would be good, but she doesn't have time. So what would you reflect after she says that?
Look at her schedule and see if she can invite someone or ask someone to help her to unclutter her home. if there's a family member that she might be able to ask for help. If not, then she might be able to set aside a day and decide what is priority in the future for herself.
Okay, Carolina, how did that feel? Did that feel like an elaboration, the affirmation, or reflection? Or are we moving on to plan?
I think that's a plan. Am I supposed to reflect before the plan, I guess?
No, you're not. I just was asking, how did that feel? Did you feel a little pushed?
Not necessarily, no. I think, well, for me, that makes sense. Like, okay, you have a problem.
Yeah. It's a little premature focus, and you went right to the sustained talk. I don't have time, and we kind of went to trying to problem solve that not having time, rather than tell me a little bit more about the clutter that you want to, the change that you want to make. You don't even have to tell them what it was. Tell me a little bit more about that. Let's unpack that change that you want to make.
Right.
It's like prove to myself that it's important so that I know I need to prioritize it.
Right. So it sounds like you really have a good idea of what you want to do or desire to do. That way you're doing an affirmation and identifying the desire.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then Gloria typed 2, tell me what keeps you from making the time to take medication to the disposal site, which I think kind of goes along that, right?
Read that again.
So Gloria typed, tell me what keeps you from making the time to take medication to a disposal site. So that kind of goes along the lines of like, tell me more about the problem, right?
Right. That's tell me more about the problem rather than about the solution.
Okay.
Or the change talk. And what we want to do is really listen carefully to the change talk and reflect and respond to that. Otherwise, we're moving to problem solving and plan way premature before we have a solid change plan or a change. We want a change plan, not a barrier destruction. Does that make sense? We want a path to go on. We don't want to break down all the barriers that are keeping us from going on that before we have a clear path. That's what we want to do. Does
So
that
what's
make
the
sense?
problem? Like, what gets in the way then? Like, if you just try to solve the barriers and you don't confirm the path, what's the issue?
Right. When you want to get the medications disposed of, or you want to clean up the clutter, if you have a clear picture of what you want to do, what you need to do, and the reasons for that, that pathway is real clear. And then you can decide if it's really worth doing all the problem solving for. You'll get at that problem solving when you do a plan. But if we premature focus before we unpack the change talk, it really builds resistance usually. They can yes but you a lot. And what you want them to do is to hear themselves say what they desire to happen, what they're able to do, and the reasons why they want to do it. And you want them to talk about that till you hear, well, I intend to do that, or yes, that's what I'm going to do, or I'm ready to do that. When you start hearing that movement talk, then that's when you're ready to move into the plan. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good practice. Keep looking at that as you're doing work with your client. And I'm going back to this evoking and strengthening some of the questions that you can ask. And that was for people number 2. And let me see. Some of the other kinds of questions that you can ask are for the desire. Tell me what you don't like about how things are. That's kind of a, what do you hope things will be like when you've accomplished it? Or how would you like things to be different? Those kind of things help get at desire. And ability is, you could say, how likely are you going to be able to make that change? How confident are you? What ideas do you have that might work? So those are kind of some questions that will help with ability. And then questions that might help for reason is, why do you want to have more space in your house? Caroline, I'm going to take your decluttering because it's easy. Why do you want to declutter? What might be the good things about it? What would make it worth your time? What would be the advantages of not having the clutter? Those kind of things. Helps build the reasons why you want to do it. And then if you're trying to build need, you can even say what needs to happen, like taking the medicine, what needs to happen to make it work? How important is it to you? How serious or how urgent is it for you to get this done? Those kind of things will help strengthen the need. So, or help them tell you, make statements that have the desire, ability, reason, and need in it. Because what we want to be able to do is to get clients to tell us their motivation. Okay? Thank you all for participating in that. And we're going to do another activity. This is a lot of application today. And what we're going to work with now are the rulers. Or that we have, and the rulers are just simply on a scale of 1 to 10. How important is it to you? How confident are you? And how ready are you? So this is, Erin, where I want to do the polling. And I'm going to make this real personal for you about, and I want you to poll these, and we'll take them one at a time. Okay? We're going to scale importance first. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you to use MI skills with your clients? 1 being very little importance, and 10 meaning of great importance.
Okay, so hopefully most of you should see this little poll come up, and it will let you select your number. So go ahead and select. Does no one see it?
I see it now.
Okay.
But when I hit submit, nothing happens.
Well, because there's more.
You do have to scroll down. Yeah.
There's
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you?
Okay, so Bonita, this is my my fault. It launched all 3 questions at once.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and answer all 3 at once.
Yeah, go ahead and answer all 3. You'll have to scroll down. Sorry, it's the first time we've played with this polling, and I thought it would launch one at a time, but it did.
Okay, so on the confidence, how confident are you? The scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you about using MI skills with your clients? 1 being little confidence and 10 meaning a lot of confidence.
Did you say Michelle?
I want everybody to mark their poll. And then scroll on down, and then after you've got importance and confidence, I want you to mark how ready are you to use MI skills with your clients. 1 being very little, and 10 meaning you're good to go.
All right, I know most of you guys are done. I'm just sending a message. Then I will show you.
When we used this in my program I was working with, we did have them answer all 3 of those together. My preference would be to do the importance confidence and then have them do the readiness as a separate one.
Okay, we've got the results. Can everyone see that? Can you see it, Bonita?
I can see them. So in importance, we have 6, 7, 8, and 9, and some 10s. And in confidence, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and some 10s. And in readiness, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10s. All right. So what I'm going to do is work with a number, and if you've answered that number, I want you to unmute and give me some time, real-time responses, if that will work. So on the importance scale, the people that answered 6, can you unmute? Okay, can we leave the scales up, Erin? The responses?
Oh, sure, we can.
Yeah, that would be good. So do I have anybody that answered 6? How important is it? You're not in trouble.
This is Victoria. This is Victoria. I answered 8.
Exactly. You answered 8. Well, let's just do the 8. That'll work. And Victoria, you answered an 8 in importance. Can you tell me why it's an 8 and not a 6 in importance?
Because I think it's very important, because in using this type of interviewing, I believe that you can get more information or make them feel more comfortable with you to answer the questions that you're needing.
Okay, so it's important to you because it makes people feel more comfortable. Is there anything else? Any other reasons why it's an 8 and not a 6?
Yeah, because also just that because I think it would be easier to extract the information that you need to do your job.
Okay, so it makes your job easier?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Victoria, you said it makes your job easier and you are more comfortable with your client. What would it take to move you from an 8 to a 9 in importance?
Probably to understand it a little better.
Okay, to understand it a little.
Because I believe like the more confident I become with it, the better I would do at it. And do you understand?
I understand. Let's see. I just want to talk a little bit about how that ruler works. You see how I went down first? And after I got her reasons or her explanation of why it's important, then I moved her up one you can do it 1 point, or you can even do it a half a point if there's a lot of resistance. If I'm down into the 2s or 3s, I might say, what would it take to get to be a 3.5 or something like that to move it forward. But I want to make sure and unpack why they're as high as they are. Okay, thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to work with confidence, and I need somebody to volunteer to work with me. I don't care what your number was. You just need to tell me what it was. The lower, the better.
I think mine was like a 4.
Carolina, okay, in confidence. Okay.
I don't remember what I put, but I think it was a 4.
Okay. So Carolina, you said it's in confidence. You said that it's a 4 in confidence. That's pretty high. Can you tell me why you're a 4 and not a 1 or 2?
I mean, I think I understand the basic concepts. And I think it's like really effective, and I like definitely like want to be able to do it. And I think I've gotten some of it.
You think it's important, you think you want to, and you have some understanding. That's really good. What do you think it would take for you to get to be a 4.5 in confidence?
Probably more practice and more understanding. I think also like my main issue with it is that like I don't work in like appointments with people. Like I do like a lot of like health promotion where I'm like at a table with someone for like a minute of their time. And like I don't think I have the ability to like do that kind of screening with someone in a short period of time.
So your desire is to know how to use it in a short conversation.
Mm-hmm. Or if that's even possible in its fullest extent, I don't know.
Okay, so with you, when we move on to make your plan, and we'll do that later, but keep that in mind, because you understand it, you're clear up to a 4 in confidence. Remember those, I wasn't a very good listener, so I'm not able to reflect it too good. So remember those points of why you were a 4 and not a 2, and hold on to those and write those down for yourself. And if I'm having an off day of listening, I might even have them write that down, or I would be writing it down so I don't forget, because it's easy to get distracted. And you're going to need those, the change talk. Did everybody hear how much change talk Carolina gave us in just a real short time? So that doesn't even take a minute to get some change talk.
Well, you started by saying 4 was a high number, so that was a little motivating.
Yeah, so that's an affirmation. So that's good. It's good to, and you can do that even if they say they're a 1. If you said I was a 1, I would say, wow, So you're not a 0. So tell me why you're a 1 and not a 0, even though I didn't even give him a chance to say 0. That I do that on purpose so I can always go down to a 0. Okay, thank you, Carolina. Now we're going to move on to the readiness. Oops, I closed it. Can you open it up again?
Hold on, I have to like stop and then reshare.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I
Now
meant to
scroll down.
I meant to scroll down to the readiness. So I want somebody who is willing to do the confidence or the importance, confidence, and the readiness with me. Is anybody ready to volunteer?
I can do it.
Martha?
Yes,
Thank
I can. And that's number 2, right?
On the importance, what was your number on the importance?
It's an 8.
An 8. And on confidence?
On confidence, I would say it would be a 6. I think I remember a 6, yeah.
Okay. And your readiness?
Readiness, and that was the last one, 6.
6. Okay. Okay, Martha, you said you're a 6 or an 8 in importance and a 6 in confidence. So because your confidence scale, this is kind of off the interview, is lower than the importance, I would work with you on the confidence scale. So Martha, can you tell me why you're a 6 and not a 4 in confidence?
I suppose because I haven't practiced this type of skill before.
Why are you a 6 and not a 4?
Because I have some experience, but I don't feel as if I'm proficient, like maybe an 8 or a 9 yet.
So tell me more about your experience that you have with MI.
I have talked with patients many times to try and overcome barriers for communication in a behavioral health setting.
Okay.
But I have not had much experience. Like Carolina, I also experience a lot of outreach work that doesn't involve me going into someone's home. It's more of a community-based outreach where I present materials to people.
Okay. What else gives you confidence? Why you're up at pretty high in confidence on a 6, and what else gives you confidence? And you're not down around a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or 4 or 5. What gets you clear up to a 6 in confidence?
Confidence meaning I have used some of these skills before and found success.
So you've had some successes.
Some successes.
So tell me about a success that you had in using it.
Well, I had a client, a home visit client, that had trouble organizing her tasks from one task to another in her home. She was scattered, and I asked her to list the most important things. What are the most important things for you to do today? And she decided that based on that question, that she should come up with a list of tasks that she could perform each day and stick to that. And once she strayed from that during the time I was with her, then she was prompted by me to remember her list, because she would go into one room and then, remember the task that needed to be done, and then she would forget and do something else and get distracted. So distraction was an issue.
So it helped you focus with your client.
Yes.
And so you've had some experience and you've had some success. And so what would it take for you to get up to a 6.5 confidence? What would be something that would help you get just a little bit more confidence?
I suppose learning more about this, what we're going through right now, because I've never done this before. I've used other methods of learning.
Okay. Anything else?
Practicing it more with clients and patients.
Okay. Okay, so if you were to redo your readiness number, how ready do you think you are now? Is it still a 6?
I'm just looking at the poll here. Importance, confidence.
And now your readiness. How ready are you to do, to learn more and to practice it?
Our readiness is definitely high. I would say it would be a 10.
A 10.
Yes.
So you, before we, okay, we're on a roll now. I would, if she said that she's a 10, I would move right into the planning. Okay?
Okay.
So just working the rulers a little bit like that, and it takes really about 60 seconds to do that. You're ready for a plan. She had tried it, she had been successful, and I was able to get what she thinks the next step would be to learn a little bit more, practice it a little bit more. And so then we could move right into developing the plan to do that. Okay?
Okay.
So any questions about using the rulers?
It's a good way of polling people. I mean, I don't think I have it's more of a comment. It's helpful.
That's what I want is comments. If you remember to go down first, if you go up first, it'll be a roadblock every time.
Can you tell me, Bonita, is it importance, confidence, and what is the third one again?
Readiness.
Okay.
I like to work with importance and confidence first, and then do the readiness scale. Because if you do it all at the same time, ask them again what their number was, and just like yours changed after they had talked about the reasons why they were confident. And if you've done both the importance and confidence, say the importance is a 2 and the confidence is a 6. If I thought it was important, I could do it. Then you work with the importance scale. But if the confidence is lower, you work with a confidence scale. And that way, if the importance is low, then they might need more information. But if their importance is high and their confidence is low, it doesn't do any good to give them more information if their confidence is low. If you build their confidence up to where the importance is, you're going to get more movement. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes great sense, yeah.
So it's, even if you're at an information table, if you can think of a couple questions that you can ask them about importance and confidence, you can get some movement in their willingness to do it in just a short minute. So if you have just real brief encounters, it is a real quick way to get people assessed and committed.
Somebody asked, by going down first, do you mean the order of these words or the tone of your voice too?
Well, I'm going down in the numbers from a 4 to a 2. Why were you a 5 but not a 3? That's what I mean by going down first.
Okay.
Why were you a 5 and not a 3? And then after you've unpacked that, you go, what would it take to get to be a 5, 5.5, from a 5 to a 5.5?
That gives confidence.
Right. And you do it the same on the importance scale, the confidence scale, and then when you're doing the readiness, you do it the same thing. What makes you ready? And that is the beginning of your plan. What makes you a 10 instead of a 6? And then you have your plan, because I know if I learn more and practice more, I will get better. And so you develop your plan. How are you going to learn? How are you going to practice? and then the steps you can take to do that. Okay, any other questions?
Well,
I should have put more in last week's. We're going to move on here because I want to talk about planning just a little bit here.
Just a quick check-in on time. It's about 12:15, Bonita. So we have about 45 minutes.
Okay.
People need a quick stretch.
Quick stretch.
Doing great.
So I get my scales to go. Okay. Developing an action plan. And this is after you've done your scales or you've asked them questions and unpacked their change talk. And you see some movement toward the change. Okay, and you want to make sure you develop the plan together and you reflect out. That's where you would use the summary. You've said this, 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 and this, and it sounds like you're ready to make a plan. Would you like to do that now? And you want to, when you're making a plan, you want to say, so in the next week, before I see you again, a lot of times it's good if you're seeing a client regularly, or if you're not going to see them again, you say in the next week. I wouldn't go out much farther than the next month with anybody. You want to ask them, what is your intention? What would you like to do? What are you ready to do? What are you prepared to do? And what steps do you want to take? You want to explore their goals. In the unmotivated client, you would say, I have an exercise here that will help you consider your goals for the next 3 to 6 months. How would you summarize your plan for the next 3 to 6 months? Just a quick story. My first client said, I don't want to make any change. And I says, well, do you want to get worse? She was talking about her drinking. Do you want to get worse or do you want to stay the same? And she says, well, I'll stay the same. So we set a goal on staying the same because she was drinking like 16 drinks a night. So she wasn't about to make any changes for me, but she said, I'll stay the same. So we made a plan for that, for the next, it was the next month, because I was going to call her back in a month. And so even if they don't want to make a change, you can ask them, well, do you want to plan to stay the same? If you don't want to get worse or you don't want to get better, how are you going to just stay the same? Because you'll probably either get worse or better. And then you want to make sure when you're making a plan to tell them that it's totally up to them what they do. That's where we don't want to push too hard. Then to review a plan, you want to have them clearly state their goal and ask them, why is that important to you? And I know if you've just done the scaling questions, they've told you, but there might be some other one. Every time I did this, I always got one more thing of why it was really important to them. So you ask it again, why is it important? Steps that you need to reach your goal. You want to break it down into small steps if you can. Who can help you with this goal? You bring in their support system. Anything that might interfere. And that's where you go back to the negative things about the change or the positive things of staying the same. You want to make sure and address any barriers at that point. But that's after you have all the change plan. And then you want them to visualize what it'll be like when they have reached their goal and how they will know that they have reached their goal. So you want to make sure they have it clear. All right. We're not going to practice that. We're going to move on to the questions. We have, for those of you that this is your first session, we have statements, problems that were identified, statements that a client made, and we're going to try to respond. And then I'll give you an example of a response. Okay? And so we'll have different groups, and Erin, I don't know how many we'll have in a group.
Two to three.
Two is fine, 2 or 3 is fine. So when it's your group, if we can move this through this fairly quickly, we have 7 to do. So everybody will get 1 chance, and I'll want you to try it yourself. And then after I've read the example, for you to tell me what skill it was that we used. Okay, who's my first group?
I am Wendy. Anyone else?
Wendy and Lisa.
Okay. Okay, this is rugged individualism, and it's defined as people who like to be independent. The example of the patient statement is, I like living in the rural community and not being bothered by other people. How would you respond? Wendy?
I would say, I hear that you really enjoy living in the rural community and you really enjoy your independence or privacy.
Okay.
Privacy. Mm-hmm.
Lisa, do you want to give it a chance of a response?
You're unmuted, Lisa. Oh.
How would you respond to, I like living in the rural community and not being bothered by other people? Affirmation, reflection, asking them an open-ended question. Those are your choices.
Lisa, we can come back to you if your microphone's not working. Do we have any other volunteers who want to get their turn out of the way?
Hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. Awesome.
Okay. I had said reflection.
Okay, what would your reflection be?
I understand you like living in the rural community and not being by others.
Okay, so just simply restating it for them. Okay, and this example of a divine response would be, this lifestyle is a good fit for you and you like making your own decisions. How can I best help you today? So Wendy and Lisa, what MI concepts is that demonstrating?
Well, it's a reflection, Wendy, and I want to say open-ended question, but it's very direct. How can I best help you today?
Right, it's still open-ended.
Okay.
And any additions, Lisa?
I said reflection.
Yeah. Followed by an open-ended question. In that reflection, you like making your own decisions. I twisted, they don't like being bothered, into a more positive. Do you see how I reframed that?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's easier to use than you don't want anybody bothering you.
Yeah.
You like making every decision. So you would emphasize it's totally up to you what you do with our time today. Somebody that's that individualistic, you want to make sure that you emphasize it's totally up to you. Mm-hmm. And any decision we make, it's going to be your decision. Okay?
It's neat how you turned it around that way.
Yeah. You call that reframing, or with a twist, you kind of give it a spin. The news people call it a spin. Okay, next group.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Who's our next two?
I'm number 2.
Elena?
Yes.
Elena and Hillary, yes.
Okay, the cowboy mentality defined as primarily with me. Lifestyle that they don't think they are susceptible. Okay, so the example of the patient statement, I am tough as nails. How would you respond?
So I understand you think you're tough. However, maybe these tests are important for you.
Okay. Hillary, do you want to try?
That was me.
Okay, Elena?
Let me see.
This is hard. It's hard. I'm tough as nails. That's about as...
It's just pretty short.
Heels dug in as tight as you can.
Yep, so I guess I would just ask more details. So just elaborate a little bit more so that I can understand exactly what it means. So I would just say, yeah, so can you tell me what you mean by being tough as nails? Can you give me a little bit more details on what you mean?
Okay, get them to tell you more if it's too short. That's good. Okay, this is an example. You are strong and healthy. Tell me about what you are doing to stay that way. Then you'd let them answer. I have some information about your risk that you might be interested in. And they would say yeah or no. What you decide to do about this information is totally up to you. There again, giving them high confidence. What do you think you might do? Okay, what concepts are those? Who's going first? Hillary, Elena?
I guess you are affirming. You're also reflecting that he is strong and healthy.
Okay.
I think maybe you're eliciting information from him about saying, tell me what you're doing to stay that way.
Okay.
You're also trying to provide some information by asking him permission to give him information about the risk.
Okay.
And then you're also eliciting more information from him by asking him what he might do.
Okay. So some elicit.
Yeah.
All right. Good job.
Thank you.
You're getting it. Okay, next group.
I think I had Jennifer and as group 3.
Okay. So health is a majority or major, see if I can read it this time. Health not a major priority. It's defined as food, lodging, basic needs are more important than health tests. The example of the patient's statement is, I don't believe in doctors. How would you respond?
To the patient's statement, right?
Right. I don't believe in doctors. How would you respond to that statement? Jennifer or Aza? That's how you say it?
Yes, that's how you say it. Let's see.
could we ask something along the lines as to what made you feel that way, or what experiences have you encountered that made you not believe in doctors?
You can. Will that get change talk or not change talk?
Let's see.
That you can. Let's just go with that. Who was that? Jennifer or Haza?
Haza.
Okay. Jennifer, you give it a try.
So put it, I guess, in change talk then statement. Is that what?
Well, how would you respond? I don't believe in doctors. Just a clue. It probably takes some spin.
Well, what was that? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part?
It probably takes a spin. When they make such a, it's kind of like the one before where they have their heels dug in. I don't believe in doctors.
Okay. Let's see. Put in a change talk statement. Let's see.
You're wanting to get change talk if you can, but you may need to just unpack it a little bit.
Okay. So reflect for them to see change talk. Yeah. So, what experiences have you encountered that make you feel like you can't believe in your current doctors?
Okay. Okay, let's see what the example is.
Okay.
And my response, tell me about how being healthy fits in for you. And then maybe scale a question. So I'm kind of ignoring the doctor resistance and looking at trying to find out where health fits for them. So my other thought right then is tell me what you do believe in. Rather than asking them why they don't believe in doctors, which builds up their resistance, ask them about what it is they do believe in.
Okay. Okay, so how important it is for them. Okay.
Okay.
So I didn't leave much. I tell you what I'm doing, scaling importance and confidence. So what am I trying to do when I scale for importance and confidence?
What was your question?
When we scale for importance and confidence, what's our motivation for doing that? What are we trying to get? What concept are we trying to develop?
The readiness of the people.
Are you that we changed?
Say that again.
Change.
The readiness of the patient.
We're both talking at the same time. Jennifer first.
Oh, that wasn't me. I don't know who else was talking.
This is Victoria.
Victoria?
Yeah, I would say change.
So you're trying to get change talk when you do this importance and confidence.
Right,
Okay.
that's what I said.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. These I saved the hardest ones till last because they take more skill, and you have to sometimes. When I changed this one, tell me about how being healthy fits for you. I'm kind of taking more of a lead than a follow kind of style because I'm kind of steering it away from the resistance and trying to find something that will give me an idea of what they do believe in and what might work for them. You might have to unpack their resistance to doctors, but I would try to find out a little bit more about where they're coming from before I unpack that much, because that's going to build up more resistance. Okay, we have another group?
Yes.
Who's in my next group?
This is Carolina.
Who's with you?
I don't know.
Let me look at my list.
Is this group 2?
This will be 1, 2,
4.
We're on 4, Nellie. Nellie, I'm going to unmute you, okay?
Okay.
Hey.
So the problem is meth and opioid addiction. Defined as addiction or habitual use of meth and illicit and prescription abuse of opioids, national epidemic. Okay.
What's PN statement?
Patient navigator. This is a patient navigator statement.
Okay.
And so you're pretending you're the supervisor, your own supervisor, okay? Or maybe a peer, okay? Drug and alcohol abuse were always common, but meth and opioid is a whole step higher and more intense, out of control. How might you respond? Could be to supervise as a supervisor or as a peer.
So just to clarify, I'm trying to explain to the patient navigator how to deal with the situation with the patient.
Well, the patient navigator makes this statement: drug and alcohol abuse were always common, but meth and opioid is a whole step higher and more intense, out of control. How would you respond to that statement that the patient navigator made?
I think I'm just struggling with understanding the context. Like, am I supposed to be supporting the patient navigator or helping them support someone else? Or...
No, you're supporting your peer. You're supporting your peer.
Okay, so what makes you think that, or what has caused you to believe that this level is more intense and out of control than previous use? Would that be the next question?
That could be.
Or
how about Nellie? Give it a
Okay,
try.
I'm supposed to answer to her, right? What she just asked me? Okay.
No, you're going to respond to her statement, the statement that's on the screen. Drug and alcohol abuse were always common, but meth and opioids, I can't say that word today, is a whole step higher and more intense, out of control. How would you respond to that using MI?
Let's see. I will ask, I will agree with her, but I will ask her, where did she get the facts?
Okay, so trying to tell me more, right?
I think I get the situation better now. She's just responding to the crisis as a whole, right? Not like a specific. So she just thinks that alcohol and drug abuse are potentially okay comparatively.
Well, it's just so much more. So you're just having a conversation with somebody and says, this is blowing my mind. You know, I was prepared to deal with drugs and alcohol abuse, but this meth and opioids is blowing my mind. It's out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, they're just telling you they're okay. This is an example.
So maybe asking her, like, if she feels like competent then to work with those, like, oh, it sounds like this is a new topic for you. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, how are you responding to that in a way that's different than what you usually do?
Right. So
do you need more information?
Yeah, that's a good try too.
Okay.
So the example response is the meth and opioid use is complicated and a bit scary. Tell me more about what concerns you. There are education resources that might help you feel more competent dealing with the clients who have these problems. What are your thoughts? So what concepts is that using?
Affirming and reflecting what they said, and then eliciting more information. It's like elicit, provide, elicit kind of.
Right. Good. Anything to add, Nellie?
Let me see. These are so hard to answer.
It's a long answer.
Yeah.
It would be over time. The slashes mean that the other person gives you a response there.
I will probably take my time and look at the problems and the concerns.
Okay. So you're saying you see unpacking in there about tell me more about what concerns you.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you can offer information and thoughts.
Right.
Yeah. On this, it's just identifying what skills being used. If you can identify what somebody else is doing, it might give you an idea of what it would look like if you were doing that. So unpacking it. The thing that I wanted to emphasize here is you can practice your MI skills with each other, just in your ordinary conversations. You can practice them with your families, as well as at work. This would be like with a peer if you were in supervision. Do we have another group?
Yep, I think we're on group 5, Victoria and Sienna.
Okay. Education and health. Lack of understanding of cancer or any or most of the cancer screening tests. Example of a patient statement. I don't know what this is. Why should I bother? How would you respond?
I think I would respond to, I understand that you're not aware of what this is, and maybe try to give her a little bit more education on what it is and why she should bother.
Okay.
Like giving her more information and letting her know that, that it's becoming more common and it would be worth her effort to maybe get a cancer screening.
Okay, was that Victoria or Sienna?
Victoria.
Okay.
And this is Sienna. I think I would start with trying to get the patient to elaborate more and just understand what they do know and what they don't understand. So just asking, can you tell me more about what you do understand about whatever specific screening? And then from there, probably provide and elicit information.
Okay. Let's see what the example. These are wordy examples. You are curious and want more information before you make a decision. We have some printed information. Would you want to discuss it now? Or would you like to take reading information home and then discuss what might work for you? So what concepts am I using there?
This is Sienna again, and so it's a reflection, and then elicit provide and elicit information.
Right.
I agree.
Victoria?
I agree with that.
Okay. The only thing I would add is I'm addressing whether they want to go over all the information currently or take it home and think about it. So just trying to sneak in some sensitivity about, or you might ask them, do you want me to read it to you? Do you want to take it home? That kind of thing. Sensitivity about their ability to absorb and process the information.
And oh, I'm sorry. This is Victoria, and I agree with you. Like, and a lot of our things, like for doing the colonoscopy training and whatnot, navigating, I think that it's important for us to try to get them to understand it while they're in the office, because usually once they step out of there, we probably won't be able to touch them again. Or do you know what I mean? It's like it's easier to discuss it when they're right in front of you than if they leave.
Right. So that's your particular situation is going to do some of that. All right. Group 6.
Okay, we have 3 people in group 6, Gayla, Michelle, and Martha.
Okay, literacy, defined as inability to read or understand health information, printed information above grade 5, inability to read and comprehend maps and math. Example of a patient statement. I forgot my glasses. Would you read this for me? I don't need or want any of your pamphlets. How would you respond to that?
Can any of us go first?
Yeah, just identify yourself so I know who's talked.
This is Martha.
Okay, thank you. How would you respond?
I certainly would help them read it if they can't read it.
Okay. Gayla or Michelle?
For me, since they said they forgot their glasses, would you read this for me? I would say something like, I know how you feel when you leave your glasses at home. I do it and I can't read anything. Just so because this is an issue that they might be embarrassed about. So I want to find a way to make it seem like, you know, I've done the same thing. And then I would say, the pamphlets, if you want me, they're there to inform and educate you. And I'd be more than happy to read them to you or talk to you about a subject that's important to you that we can talk about.
Okay. And who was that?
It was Michelle.
Michelle. Okay. Very good. Kayla?
Oh, I understand how frustrating that could be. Yes, let me help you understand these pamphlets.
Good. Great. So some affirmations and then be sensitive to their need for assistance with the reading. This is an example. Thank you for letting me know. We can go over this with you now. Where would you like to start? And you could give them their choices. Okay. What concept is that?
Thank you. This is Michelle. I think I feel like I'm affirming what they told me, letting me know that, they left their glasses and can't, read any of the literature. And I would ask, is there a particular issue that you'd like to start with?
So what skill is that?
It's,
I don't know that we've named it, but it's in
I
there.
would, it's almost like I'm trying to find a motivator or a detail about one of the issues they'd like to discuss.
Right. Anybody else?
So engaging.
Yep. Okay. Any other ideas of skills used there?
Well, if you're summarizing, right? This is Martha. If you're summarizing that means that would be part of your response. No?
You could include a summary in there.
I wouldn't necessarily say where would you like to start, because
what would you do?
If I have a rack card and I hand that to someone and offer that to them, I also explain to them what is on there, so that while they look at it, they don't necessarily need to read that entire bit of information at that time. They can listen to me as I'm talking. That's their option. They can either read that card or they can listen to me. And I would say if there's anything there on that information I just gave you that you don't understand, I would be more than glad to go over it with you.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay. Anybody else? That was Martha and Gayla, right? Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Yeah. So both what Martha was saying and where would you like to start, you probably would have to go over what you have information for before you ask them that if they couldn't read. But that's making sure you give them choice in there. Okay, one last group.
So we have Gloria and Aurora. And if there's anyone else that I missed, I think I got everyone, but if not, you are up.
Okay. So language. And some of these, we'll just go through it. People who are monolingual Spanish speakers or speak a language other than English as their primary and first tongue. Example of a patient statement. No hablo inglés. What would you do?
I would be inclined to reply in my very limited bad Spanish that I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. So, lo siento, pero no hablo español. And then try to convey that I would get somebody else to come help us if they were okay with that.
Okay.
And I agree. Gloria.
And what did you say? Gloria.
This is Gloria. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And I agree with her. That's what I would do. Try to get them to understand that I'll go find somebody that can help them.
Okay. And I said the example would be thank you for coming, and you can even do that in English because even though they don't. And smile, use your nonverbal. I will find an interpreter. Please have a seat. And gesture to the chair. So, any comments about that? The concept? The nonverbals of smiling and gesturing to the chair, what do those convey?
That you understand and it's okay.
Right.
It feels like you're kind of affirming that they still came in whether or not they understand you.
Right. So the acceptance, the no judgment kind of thing, and meeting their needs. And hopefully most of you have an agency that's prepared for those situations.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you all. That these were hard ones because they're not full of a lot of change talk to reflect, but there are a lot of starting points of where we start with people. And so we have 6 minutes. And how I want to end the session is for you to come up with your own individual MI skill development plan. And we had a chance to reflect the importance and confidence. And most of you felt the importance pretty highly and needed to improve your confidence. But I would ask you to take out a piece of paper and write down for yourself why it is important to you to use MI. And notice the skills used during your own interaction with the clients. Observe skills used by others. And to develop peer support strategies. And keep notes of skill you are working on and where you see them used and use them often. Okay, so can each of you go through, can we just go down the list and each of you say one reason it's important and what one next step would be? So I'm going to just go through the list of the groups and ask Wendy, would you respond first, please? Are you still there, Wendy?
Yes, I was typing. I'm sorry, I forgot that I could unmute. Would you please repeat the second part of the question or the whole question again, please?
Okay, I want you to just verbalize why it's important to you to use MI.
Okay.
And what your next step in your personal plan would be.
Okay, great. It's important to use it because I don't know, I personally find it fascinating how to draw people out for their motivation while not telling them what to do and you know, really letting them lead. I think that's a really fascinating thing to do when you're a helping person, is to hold back and draw people out. So that's why it's important to me for motivation for people's own health. And then the next step is I just really want to review everything and maybe have some note cards for the things that are tough to keep looking at them and have them be more comfortable for me.
So you want to review and make note cards?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa, or Wendy. Lisa? Are you there? Are you there, Lisa? Can you unmute? Can we come back to Lisa and Elena?
Hi, this is Elena. So did you want me to answer the questions on here or just choose?
I just want you to tell me one reason why it's important for you to use MI, and then tell me one next step that you were going to take.
Sure. So one important reason why it's important to use MI is because in my organization, we are using a participant centered approach. And so it's very important to meet the participants where they currently are. And I think just using MI gives them the opportunity to open up to us and, allow them to tell us what they want to say and start building that trust with MI. With an MI approach.
Good. And your next step?
My next step would be probably just continue using the acronyms and just referring to my notes.
Okay, so you're going to use the acronyms to help guide you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Elena.
You're welcome.
Hillary, you're next.
I think just to continue to use motivational interviewing, it's part of our RAY requirements. So it's kind of like implemented into our HRSA funding and stuff as part of my position. So it's something I do pretty regularly. And I think just continuing to utilize the different types of reflections and different types of ways to elicit information from people is going to be super beneficial.
Okay. Thank you. So you want to do the reflections, and it's important because it's required for your job.
Pretty much. I mean, it's a good, it seems like it's like, I don't know, I've been doing person-centered planning for almost 20 years now. Mm-hmm. So it just seems like part of what I've done for always, and it just kind of has a new name to it. So it just seems like I'm always trying to engage a person in what they want their plan to be, because it's easier to buy into and help the person that's really unmotivated to be able to become motivated. So, I mean, I've been using the skill for years. It's just kind of got a different aspect to it, I guess.
Right. And some people are more naturally inclined to relate to others this way. So thank you, Hillary. Jennifer?
They had to step out. I know a few people are having to head to other meetings, so maybe we take one more volunteer and then wrap it up.
Anybody else? One more.
This Michelle. I've been using it for a long time too, and I find I can gather more information from someone using MI, and also it makes them interact with the process, because as an advocate, I don't do everything for them. I help get them all of the information they need to make good decisions. So I think it's a very important tool.
Well, good. Do you have a next step for yourself?
I like to monitor myself when I'm doing intakes to watch, what I'm saying. And I have all of these notes written down that are on top of my desk, because sometimes when I'm engaged, I can't think of everything. So I kind of have it there where I can look back and, see what I'm doing and saying.
Okay, well, thank you all for participating, and have a good day.